Hello and welcome to the Best Today podcast. I'm Shantae Grant, and this week we're continuing what we started last week, which is talking about these words that we use in our everyday language, vernacular, and how we're going to stop doing that. So today, I've actually talked about this one probably consistently for the last 4 years. Straight. So if you're not new to me, you've heard me talk about my problem with this B word, this 4-letter word known as busy. As I said in episode 64, which I will link in the show notes if you've not listened, but really if you're listening, if you just tap back whatever episode, when you're on this episode, it'll take you to 64. But last week I talked about how I believe in the powers of the words that we use and the words that we think, because our thoughts are inside of our bodies, right? The words we use do as much good to our bodies as exercise, fresh air, and nutritious food, but they can also do as much damage to our body and sometimes more as sleeplessness, a poor diet, and smoking. So what you say and what you think to yourself, particularly about yourself, matters. About 4 years ago, I made the word busy my enemy. When I realized, and here's why, because I had a personal fight with him, right? I had a relationship with busy and we had to break up, and it was a bad breakup. I realized that I was using that word with so much frequency and so much consistency to describe my life and my time. And I literally had an outer body experience where I was looking at myself and I was like, so this is what we gonna keep doing? This what we gonna keep doing? Is this what we gonna keep doing? Like literally me having a conversation with myself, like we got to stop this. So last month, while reviewing some survey data from our audience, I saw this word come up so many times. It was sprinkled in almost every single survey response that answered some of the questions that gave them free space, that I knew I had to come here to the podcast and talk about it, right? This dirty little word, busy, was scattered everywhere. So today, like I said, what I want to do is offer you an alternative to the word busy. We're going to have a conversation about it. Last week in episode 64, we talked about an alternative to the word overwhelm, which I refer to as the O word. If you missed that episode, please make sure to tap back and listen to it after this one. I'm going to link in today's show notes again, also last week's episode. But if you're listening here, you can listen to the episode that came before this one in the same place you're listening to this episode, right? So first off, I love a good definition. And I want to talk about what is the definition of busy. So busy is defined as full of or characterized by activity that is not indicative of what is most important or necessary. So full of activity or characterized by activity that is not indicative of what is most important or necessary. Busy also means being in use by a party or parties and not immediately accessible, right? The line was busy, like the phone line, boop, boop, because someone was currently using it. And so the line is now inaccessible. Cluttered with small, unharmonious details, fussy, clashing in design, and to keep occupied. These are some definitions of busy. And now let me ask you, after hearing that, is that how you want to keep talking about your life, describing your life, right? Or your time? I understand we live in a world where this word has just become the go-to, the clutch word. But here's what I'm trying to do every single day is to change things that I see are causing problem to the women that I create for. Change things that will help women to have better mental, emotional, and physical health. Change things that allow people to live with the 4 principles of Best Today: proaction, intentionality, self-awareness, and self-love. And so this is one of those things. That's why I'm going to harp on it. The word busy is a heavy word. It is a loaded word, and the words that we use matter. They impact our bodies and our health. And I've noticed that busy, I decided for me that busy isn't a word that I want to be true for me in my life ever. And so, of course, I get a lot of people that will email us or see me in conversation say, oh, I know you're just so busy. And I stop them. I am not. I am never busy. Now, I am not almost always. I was going to say many times I do have a full schedule, but never busy, because busy and intentional can't live in the same space. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me keep talking. Times can be full, right? Seasons can be full, where full means full, right? There's a lot there. Or maybe there's just one big thing, but that thing is taking up a lot of space. That's full, but that does not necessarily mean busy. Remember, we just talked about what busy means. Full or characterized by activity that isn't indicative of what is important or necessary. I am always focused on what is important, what is necessary. You're not going to find me out here in these streets just dilly-dallying, playing with life like it owes me more time. You're not going to catch me, right? So yes, times can be full, seasons can be full, but my time and my life and my season and my days are not cluttered with things that don't matter. They're not unharmonious or clashing just for the sake of keeping me occupied, and that's busy. So my first question is, are you actually busy? Is this even the correct word? Because you may have a lot going on, but is there intention there? Typically, I'm guessing the answer is no, because people who have full schedules but are living with intention or prioritizing their health along the way tend not to use the word busy, right? Busy, I think we'll all agree, is not a positive word. Is your time filled from start to finish with a mixture of things that aren't what's important? Are you without time to be immediately accessible to yourself or take care of your own needs? Now, if so, the answer to these things, then yes, you are busy. Or is busy just the word you are relying on because it's so common and normalized to mean you have things going on? Like I said, busy and intentional can't live in the same house. Yes, you can have a season that is full. I have customers, was just talking to one recently, actually, who work full time, also in school full time. And those two things occupy a lot of time. But when we sit together and we create a plan, they're not busy. They just don't have space for fluff and filler, which really I would say that's a whole nother episode. I was gonna say no one really does, but that's another episode. They don't have space for fluff and filler, but they are intentional. They're not busy. They've made space for themselves, for their health, for their work, for their school, for the relationships that matter. And they understand that this is a season where work and school take up a large amount of space, but that's not busy. Do you understand the difference, that dichotomy I'm trying to illustrate? Full season of life. Work literally 8 to 10 hours, and school requires full-time work, study, classes, homework, writing papers. Have relationships that matter. I want to work out. I want to be healthy. I want to make sure I'm eating healthy meals, right? Now, a person can have all that same thing and say it's busy because they have not set an intention and created a plan and created routines. But there also can be a person who has created intention and say, yes, it's full, but it is not busy because I have made sure that everything has its space and what matters is taken care of. Right? So that's the difference, because remember, busy is indicative of what's missing is what's important and what's necessary. You haven't made room for that. In this scenario, you have. At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
Hi, Shantae. This is Emmy from Japan. For the longest time, the word proactive was a word so foreign to me that I basically made excuses that I just wasn't that kind of person. Enter the Best Today guide and community. And slowly, the word proactive is infiltrating into my daily mindset. The progress is slow, but seeing where I was a year ago, the fact that I preview my week and day now is a mind-blowing change in scenery. Also, the Plans Be Done workshop was the best purchase I made this year, and the knowledge I gained has helped me take action after my planning. The Best Today community has especially helped me believe that there is a better way and that it's possible to change. Having a place to ask questions, to learn from each other, share struggles, celebrate, and encourage has been a gift this year. It's wonderful to know these women on a first name basis. And as another member put it, we're like family.
Emmy, every time I see your name, I see your face on our community calls, I hear your voice, a smile immediately comes to my face. Emmy is one of our fantastic members of the Best Today community. And just watching her do this great work of living a life of intention is a privilege and a joy. So thank you so much for sharing, Emmy. Just so grateful for you. If you want to learn more about this fantastic community that Emmy shared about plans to be done, about the Best Today Guide, all of those things can be found at besttodayguide.com. I'm going to tell you, if you want to get into plans to be done, if you need help executing on the plans that you have, whether it's personal plans, plans for your life, for work, people use the plans to be done to plan all kinds of things, weddings, college admissions for their children, you name it, projects. I know project, what's the word? Project developers, project managers. There we go. We have a number of people who project manage for their job using the plans to be done pad and method that we teach. So you can find all of that under the planning and routine shop button on besttodayguide.com. Remember that with your order of the Best Today Guide, you get your first month in the community for free. Again, everything that was just referenced can be found at besttodayguide.com. And if you're not sure where to start, we always encourage you to go to besttodayguide.com/quiz. The quiz is right there on the website. It will give you some guidance and tell you exactly where to start. Thank you again, Emmy, for sharing your story. And now let's get back to the rest of the podcast episode. So the first question is, are you actually busy? And if so, what can you do to change it? Or what can you do to change the flow of what's going on so that we move from busy to intentional? Right? So what can you do to change it? Number one, that first part of that question is, what are the things that are not important, that don't matter, that are preventing you from being accessible to your own self and take care of your own needs? What can be pruned away? What can be removed? What routines can be set in place? Well, not even that. What can be stripped? Where are the busyness, the things that don't matter, the things that aren't fruitful? How can we remove that? And let's take some of that out, right? The things that are unharmonious, clashing in design, right? The things that are clashing with the things that do matter. That's the first part. Or like I did for one of our customers who was talking about how full-time school, full-time work, and wanting to take care of herself, we changed the flow. It didn't change the responsibilities and the time they were taking, but we changed the flow and the structure. We put more time on the front end for herself. We put designated time for study, designated time for her relationships, designated time for meeting with her personal trainer, and designated days for rest. So we didn't change any of the responsibilities in her life, but we created a flow. We created routine. We created days. We created time blocks. So she could move from feeling busy, like it's just there and I'm just going from thing to thing to thing, and now just, I got to make time for this, right? To intentional. So I understand sometimes it's not that the responsibilities you have, those things aren't going away, but there is still a way to remove the chaotic nature that comes with the word busy. And even just saying it to yourself, it's not something that brings you, I imagine you saying that you're busy does not bring you peace. I'm okay with saying I have a full schedule. Some days I have a full day. And that saying that doesn't feel a certain way to me, right? Full and intentional can live in the same home. Busy and intentional can't, right? So if you are busy, what can you prune out? And how can you, or if you can't prune anything out because you actually have the things, but it's just they're clashing because you haven't made space for all the things that matter. You have those things that you have to do, but you don't have the things that you need for you. How can we change the flow? So those are the two questions. How can we prune? And then how can we change the flow and really be intentional about this? And then the third thing, and this is my alternative for you as well, is call it what it is. Name what's really going on. Stop just saying I'm busy. That's not it. That's the generic term. Say what's really going on. It might look like this for you. I ain't setting no boundaries. So everything is happening all at once and I'm letting it all in. There are no boundaries here. See, that don't feel good to say, but that's the truth. It's okay. You feel okay saying I'm busy, but you don't feel okay. Let's dissect that. Why are you so busy? Oh, I'm not setting boundaries. I'm letting too many distractions into my day, which then causes me to be rushed when I actually get to the stuff that matters. And then I'm all like, oh my gosh, I don't have any time to do these things that I need to do. But I also spent 13 hours on Instagram and over here. And then I was looking at somebody's business. Then I was comparing myself to someone over on the street. And then, I was kind of just walking around, just aimlessly looking around. Then I picked up my phone. Then I realized I don't remember who I'm going to call. But then I text someone and someone texts me and then we start a conversation. Call it what it is. Instead of saying busy, say I'm not being proactive and planning my days. So I just get up and I react all day long to the things that happen at me and like, whoa, ping pong, as opposed to actually having an intentional plan in my day. See, that doesn't feel as good to say. You just want to say I'm just busy. It feels okay to say busy. I'm giving you an alternative that's going to actually help you out. It's going to call you out. It's you calling you out. But what calling you out does is call you in to now do something about it. Call it what it really is. That's my alternative for you. And you're going to find a common theme there when we're talking about these words. I'm inviting you to always call it what it really is. Call a spade, as they say. Say the thing. It will help you to identify the problem so that you can also identify the solution and become your own solution. Busyness is a choice. So is intentionality. What I want to get across from episodes like this one and like last week's, where we talked about the O word, is that I want you to be mindful of the words that you use. These phrases and these words that we use as society, like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. Oh, I'm just a procrastinator. I'm just so busy. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. Oh, mom guilt. Oh, I have mom. These are all words used to cover something that needs to be uncovered. Say what it really is and stop using these loaded words that are so heavy and come with so much weight on your mind, on your body. But the sting of these things have been removed because you're desensitized to what you're actually saying about yourself. When you just say, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'm overwhelmed, right? That is what I really want to call your attention to, for you to be more intentional about the language you use and understand that there's something you can do about it. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, I want to invite you to become a Best Today Podcast supporter. You can go to besttodaypodcast.com right now, which is linked in the show notes wherever you're listening to this. Click that link and click on support and become a Best Today supporter. We thank you so much. Thank you for being present with me for this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. Until next time, first of all, if you didn't listen to last week's, go back and listen to that in episode 64. But until next time, remember that you are capable and you are worthy of being your best, one today at a time. And you already have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. I'll talk to you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.